Welcome to the Wellness Amazon podcast, where we talk about everything body, mind, and spirit, health, and wellness. No subject is taboo here, and we have fun peeling back all the layers. Let's do this. Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of the Wellness Amazon podcast. Today, we have a crystal expert on the show, and we're going to talk about crystal. And welcome to the show, Ellen.
Hello, thank you for
Hi,
having
Ellen.
me.
So excited you're here. So, little backstory. I know Ellen. Well, we don't know each other on a deeper level, but she is the queen of the local crystal store in Winter Garden, Florida. And it's my favorite crystal store. And I think when we moved here, gosh, even before when we lived in Ocoee, I used to come to the store. So, yeah, 10 years now. It's crazy to say that, but 10 years, since 10 years, I go to this trusted store to get all my goodies, from teas to herbs to supplements to crystals to rose water toner to who knows what, right? That's where I go. So, but today we're going to talk about crystals. And I knew when I wanted that subject on the show, I knew where to go and where to find an expert in crystals, because Ellen is the one who can answer all the questions in the store about crystals. So I'm super excited that you're here and that you're taking the time out of your day to be on the show. And so introduce yourself to the audience and how you got to crystals.
Well, hello, my name is Ellen, and I kind of got into crystals because of my mom. My mom's the owner of the shop, and I started working there to help her out. And she went on a trip to Alaska once on like a cruise ship, and she got like rose quartz and some other stones there, and she brought them home for me. And those were my first crystals I had got, and I really liked them. And then the first stone that really got me into gemstones was labradorite. It's just a really cool stone, and it's still my favorite stone. But crystals are kind of really cool because, like, once you learn about one, you want to learn about another, and then another, and another, and there's just so much. It's like a rabbit hole. You can just learn forever. So I've been going down that rabbit hole. My mom's owned the shop for quite a while, but I started there like 2015, about 10 years ago. So it's kind of funny that we're on the same time track of being there. And I've just been enthralled by them and wanted to learn more. And I've just been learning what I can. And people ask questions and I look that up. And so it's been a great learning experience to be immersed in the store and learn hands on and like pick out stones and identify them. And I've gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah. Not only are we on the same timeline, but I did not know that story. So we actually lived in Alaska and my husband is from Alaska. Yeah. So when I came to the US, that was for all the kids were born there and everything. And it's kind of cool that a crystal from Alaska was the first one that you got. That's very special.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. So what I like to clear up with all of these metaphysical things is usually what is XYZ not, right? What are some misconceptions that we can clear up about anything crystal or crystal work?
Crystals are tools for amplification. That's how we use them in technology. That's how we use them in usually applied methods. I mean, they're just pretty and you can enjoy them for their beauty. But a lot of people think that like a crystal is going to do something for me. Oh, this is going to change my life or this is going to do this. But and they can have their own energies and they can bring that energy into your life. But a lot of times it's what intention you use it with. And like if you get a quartz and then you just throw it in your purse and you never think about it, it's not going to do much in your life. So you're like, oh, well, I have it in my house. I do this, which it can be great, but they amplify the energy that you put into them. So if you're not putting energy into them, it's not going to give you back much.
Mm-hmm. So it's not that magical thing it's like not the magic wand, kind of.
I mean, it might be used in a magic wand, but it's not the person using the wand.
That's cool. Yeah, I see this all the time actually and I'm guilty. I've had the same thought about it, like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this thing and it's going to do this. It's completely going to change XYZ or whatever, and it's like, no, you need to put your own intention into this and work on this yourself. Yeah. All right.
And also, like, sorry to interrupt you, but, like, some people think, like, "Oh, it's gonna do something bad to me, like moldavite
Mm,
or something. It's too much. It's gonna do something bad," but it's what you put into it. It's the intention you have with it, so it's not gonna hurt you.
yeah. That's an interesting subject because that comes up with a lot of our subjects. We have that now in astrology and in tarot where people think something is evil. And it's like, not anything can be evil if you have the intention of it to be used as evil, but it's not, it doesn't come into this world evil, you know? So,
Mhm.
yeah. You mentioned something about technology, which I love science too. So, what are some crystals that are used in technology?
We've been using crystals for a long time to amplify frequencies and like they're used in watches, they're used in computers, silicon chips. We couldn't have technology we have without gemstones and the properties and how they affect energy and the flow of energy. So we use them, I mean, from an electronic standpoint, but also in like just a physical standpoint. Like we use corundum is sapphire and ruby, and it is one of it's like at level 9 on the Mohs hardness scale, and it's actually used in sandpaper. You might think like, oh, why do I have sapphire and ruby on my sandpaper? But it's because it's really hard. So it has a lot of applications.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that. Since you're working in the shop, what are some of the absolute most common crystals that people really gravitate to?
The big ones are amethyst, rose quartz, clear quartz, sometimes like obsidian. They're heavy hitters. They're good for a lot of different things, and they're commonly found, which is also nice because some stones are very rare and you never often come
Mhm.
across them. But there's a lot of rose quartz, and there's a lot of rose quartz deposits across the world. It's not only found in one place.
And what do they do or can do?
Well, like I said, intention can be a factor, but a lot of the functionality of the stones has to do with their color and their mineral content. Color vibrates at different frequencies. Like, for example, red is a lower frequency than purple because the visible light spectrum, the wavelengths are shorter to see them. And so when we talk about frequencies and vibes with crystals, it's actually the light that's hitting it and how it makes it vibrate. What's interesting is so like different crystals can have different properties based on their color, but people a lot of times like to change crystals, like they'll coat them in metals or make them prettier or something. And like for example, citrine is often or amethyst is heat treated to turn it into citrine, but when you change the color, even though you didn't really change the stone or the chemical properties of it, it changes the effects of it because it has a different color now. So color is a big aspect, but also like if for example hematite is called hema because it's really high in iron, and so iron can be really grounding, it can be really good for manifestation, lots of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I did not know that. I knew about the heat treated amethyst, and
Mhm.
I always thought that that kind of takes away maybe from the power of it, but that's not the case.
Not really. I mean, sometimes people want like raw, untouched, unused gemstones, even though these gemstones have been around for a long, long time, long before us, long after us.
Mhm.
And sometimes people like the raw energy, but it might just be a different energy when it's tumbled. But also, like, for example, there are stones called auras where they coat them in different metals and they kind of look like you put like some sort of dye over them, which sometimes people might put dye over some crystals and call it an aura. But usually, when an aura is made, they vaporize metals, like they vaporize gold or platinum or different things onto it. And these stones are called like stones of alchemy because it went through this alchemical transformation process and it had to be really strong to undergo that process as well. So sometimes they can amplify the properties of them. Man made doesn't exactly mean it's worse, it could be better.
How's that with moonstone? Is that one of those?
Well, there are a category of stones called feldspar, and feldspars are they a lot of times have like a shift, like a color shift, or like
Mhm.
you'll see like it catches light type of a thing. And feldspars are things like labradorite,
Mhm.
not moonstone, amazonite, sunstone, things like that. They all kind of catch the light, and it's kind of how
Mhm.
their structure is to catch it.
Yeah. I hope I can find a good picture of a labradorite and like put it in after editing because it's really when it when you turn it, you're like, "Ah, it's just kind of like gray, and then you turn it a little bit more, you're like, whoa, there's the rainbow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard kind of an interesting thing or like metaphor, I guess, for how labradorite works and what it does is it's called the shaman stone or like a magic stone because it helps you see the magic in every day of your life. But what's funny is it kind of looks like a gray, boring stone until you can see the light. So things might look boring, but it helps you see the magic all around you.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it reminds me of a peacock colors when it catches the light. Yeah, it's
It's cool
beautiful.
because it can have the full rainbow in it and it can be extra powerful because not many stones can have the full rainbow in it. But like most commonly, it has like a blue flash, but it can go purple, it can go pink, it can go lots of colors.
So, since we were talking about the misconception about crystals and that they are not just, already charged tools that just do something without you having to do anything, how do you use crystals?
Like I say, intention is a big aspect, and like how you might charge or program a crystal. One, like a way is to kind of just hold the crystal or have it around you and think of and feel the energy that you want to put into that stone. Like, let's say I want to create a new business. I'm going to visualize the business. I'm going to visualize me making money or whatever associate with this goal that I want to have. And I can hold that crystal and it can maintain that frequency and help me amplify that frequency in my life.
Uh-huh.
So, programming with holding energy intention, sometimes people use like the moon or certain other energies to recharge them or cleanse them, which that I guess we can go into a whole nother category of how to charge and cleanse stones with that. To program them, generally intention and having them honor around you can be best.
Hmm. Yeah, let's get into it. Talk to me about cleansing and charging.
So there's a lot of ways to charge and cleanse your crystals. A very common way is to put them in the moonlight or the sunlight. But you have to be cautious with the sunlight because the sunlight can take the color out of some stones. Like if you leave an amethyst in the sun for a week, it's not going to be as purple as when you originally put it out there. It'll eventually turn back to white or clear. Same thing with rose quartz. A lot of quartzes can become weaker in the sun. Jaspers generally are fine, but sunlight can weaken them a little. And also with the moon, you kind of also want to keep in mind what energies are associated with the moon at that time. Like if you have a crazy moon, don't put your crystals in it because I've had people say like, "Oh, my crystals broke," or crazy things happened afterwards. So intention is important. You can cleanse them and recharge them with frequency. So like you can use a tuning fork. I was thinking maybe you could just like sing to your crystals. Maybe they would like that or something. And some people also like kind of use the earth's energy to cleanse them. Like they might put them outside, put them on the ground, sometimes even bury them and like dig them back up to kind of get some more earth energy on them. But yeah, sage maybe also. People sage their rocks.
Hmm. Uh-huh. Um, are all crystals okay with water?
Some are more okay than others. Some, like for example, selenite, if you put that anywhere near water, it will absorb it because it's porous and it'll fall apart. So selenite's one of like the ones to keep away from water. There are different grades of selenite. There's a selenite that's almost like a quartz texture. And that one's fine with water, but the more brittle ones are really delicate. We've put some in the washing machine and we're like, oh no, we didn't get that back. Some stones are completely fine in water, and some people also make like elixirs out of gemstones, which I'm
Mhm.
also getting into another topic. But elixirs are basically when people put gemstones in water to get like the frequency or the energy of the stones into the water, and then they drink the water. It's a pro and con with it is sometimes crystals are they can leach certain minerals into the water that may not be safe. Like you don't want to put emerald in your water because it can have trace amounts of arsenic
Oh,
and you be aware not to poison yourself with your crystals
yeah.
or your water. Also, don't drink the crystals. That would not be as good either. But there's also ways, I don't know if you've seen those gemstone water bottles. I think we have
Hmm.
them at the shop where it's like glass, and then there's kind of like a glass compartment where you can put crystals in it, but it doesn't actually touch the water. So it's kind of the frequency can go through the glass, but it's not actually, you're not drinking those arsenic or what may be in the crystals.
Hmm. Yeah, that would have been my second question, how to do a crystal elixir without getting the stone into the water. I actually have one of those water bottles. I love them very much.
Hmm, hmm.
Yeah, cool.
Gotta be careful because we're
How do I figure out the different energies of the moon if I want to put them into the moon energy, but I want to be careful with what I put in there?
well. If you kind of follow astrology or people have certain associations with certain moons, I mean, every moon has like a title. I think the last moon we had was a hunter's moon, and those don't change. It's just like the moon that's in the month is always that name for that moon, or we have a different name for every moon of the year. But then there's also the moon can be in different signs. Like I think the last full moon was in Aries, but sometimes like they're conjunct with other things and it's like, oh, this is a massive transformation moon, this is a new beginnings moon, this is so forth. So kind of, at least what I do is I usually go on YouTube and follow whoever the astrology moon people are and see what's going on with that moon. And some people might have their own takes, but you might notice a general consensus of what the energy is for that month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you, so let's say you have cleansed your crystal, you have charged your crystal with your intention, right? What do you do then?
Well, you crystals, depending on what you're using them for, like let's say I want to use it for a goal I have or to help strengthen something in my body, because sometimes people also use it for like healing or organ strengthening. For that, I'd want to have it on or around me. Like if you wear crystals for protection or grounding or whatever that might be. So sometimes like having it in your pockets. It's also some for ladies, we like to put them in our bra sometimes, although it's dangerous because when you take your bra off, you have to remember they're there,
Yeah.
and I've dropped and shattered many crystals that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you can also, like, let's say I have some crystals in my car to protect me while I'm driving. We have some crystals like feng shuied into the shop in our homes for like money or protection. So it's once again how you're using it and what you're using it for as to how you might use it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wearing that makes a lot of sense to just have it close by with
Mhm.
your then intention. Do you have experience with these grids that I see a lot, these crystal grids?
Yeah. So just kind of like how, well, it's kind of similar how we use crystals in like a watch or in a computer. It's laid out in a flow so that the energy can flow through it and amplify it a lot of times. The goal of a crystal grid is very similar. It's usually angled with like points and a flow so that the energy can flow through it and be amplified for a greater purpose than maybe just one stone itself could work towards.
Hmm. And
And you can
how, go ahead.
I was gonna say you can have kind of different themes for them. Like, let's say you put all your money stones together and say, all right, I want to do my money blend. Or you can have whatever intention, you might pick different stones to make that blend. A lot of people ask, like, what stones can work together? What stones can't work together? And generally, I find like your intention might even be better or more powerful than what the stone's really intended for.
Mhm.
So sometimes you can use stones for things they weren't really intended for if you feel like that feels right for your blend. But you can't really go wrong. I mean, some stones are particular, like Apache tears is a form of obsidian that doesn't really like to be with other stones. It likes to be by itself. But that's kind of more rare. Most stones are fine together. And I even know people who put their Apache tears in with all their other stones and they seem fine. They seem happy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that when I bought those, I have them in a little, like when I buy crystals from you, you put them in a little sachet bag, and that's where I don't know if that's enough barrier or not, but that's what they're in, and I try to keep them in, like, the corner, you know? And then there's, correct me if I'm wrong, but kyanite, I have told, is always charged. It doesn't need to get charged.
Yeah, kyanite's a pretty high energy stone where it can really help with like etheric cleansing and it doesn't need a lot of cleansing itself. And so it can be used for kind of like, I don't say like deep stuff, but it can keep going and it can be really powerful. Selenite is another one that is very cleansing. It can cleanse and align our chakras. It can also be used to cleanse and charge other stones. And that's a stone that never needs to be cleansed.
Mhm.
It's like self cleansing. And it's also good because sometimes people will cleanse stones with water. I don't know if I mentioned that one earlier. I don't think I did, but don't you can't you can't cleanse selenite with water. But so it's
Mhm.
good that it cleans itself. Although you might need like an air duster if it gets kind of dusty.
Right, right. Yeah, I have all these selenite discs everywhere where I put all my stuff on it to cleanse it, and then it's so funny, I was in the shop not too long ago, and I saw something f all things on social media, and I don't understand why I never thought of that myself because I didn't know how to have all my crystal bracelets charged, and then this woman goes, Oh, yeah. Just have a selenite bracelet and wear that with all your other crystals. And I was like, this is genius. Why did I not think about? So here's my selenite bracelet.
That's good, that's smart. I haven't
Yeah.
heard that before, actually.
It makes total sense. It makes so much sense.
It does.
Um, so grids and amplifying things, and I guess is there like a rule of thumb of something what absolutely not to do when you do a crystal grid?
I think, well, this might just be for crystals in general. Like I say, intention's important. I wouldn't, and sometimes people use crystals to work with their guides and other things, but it's also not really good to open it up for anything to jump in because other
Mm,
energies can maybe be attached or so forth. Like if you're working with a pendulum, especially, sometimes it's good to know who you're working with because kind of like some people use Ouija boards. I kind of would stay away from that because inviting things, you don't know what you're inviting. So
right.
be intentional, have that. I think if the main kind of intention with crystal grids is kind of having them flowing together. Sometimes it's nice to have like crystal points or things with points because it can generate the energy that way. But you can
Mhm.
even do it with just tumbled stones. Sometimes people have like patterns they use them in, like a flower of life or like the Metatron symbol. You kind of see those patterns a lot when people use crystal grids.
So a little bit of geometry going on.
Hmm. More angles, more flow, more how it all works together.
That's a very, very important aspect when you were talking about inviting things and opening portals and, opening yourself up to you think like a good thing to help you. But yeah,
Gotta know
how do
what
you,
you're.
yeah, how do you shield yourself? Is there maybe even a crystal that helps to put a block on there?
There are a lot of crystals that you can use to protect yourself. Like, for example, one of my favorite ones is black tourmaline. I usually try to wear that every day because one, certain people can be more empathetic and feel other people around them. So sometimes you just need just general protection from that, but also like other energies. But I find intention, I'll repeat that a lot, is important. Like, if how you say your words and what you're trying to work with, don't just leave it open, be specific. And also there's certain like energy practices to kind of help protect your energy too. Like for example, I kind of got more sensitive to people and it was kind of harder to be around more people or longer. And one thing that you might notice us do at the shop is, especially for with someone who's kind of stuck in our energy, is we put our hands together. Like we'll cross our hands or we'll keep our hands, we'll have it in front of us because it's not a good idea to go talk to someone and be like, hey, what's up, with your hands, because they could just suck the life right out of you. So having that, or sometimes even having our arms closed, can be helpful. But and also, I found Jessica Rosen actually suggested this to me. She worked at the shop. But if you're sensitive to energies, you can practice can be kind of imagine like pulling your aura into you, like pulling it closer to you, so you're not as expanded out, and that can also help keep like your energy yours and their energy not tainting your energy.
Yeah, I have that issue a lot. And I do have a lot of jewelry with just dark stones in general. And I envision a bubble. I always envision a bubble. But I love that you said about closing your hands because I didn't even think about that. Yeah, this is open hands are very inviting. And also, I threw away all my welcome doormats.
Yeah, 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 smart, good, good. I got a new apartment and I'm like, "I don't want a welcome doormat. No welcome.
Mm-mm,
Not
mm-mm,
invited.
mm-mm.
Stay out."
I think one is Halloween themed, and then the other one says something about like home or whatever. I don't know. But my friend was like, no, do not put anything in front of your house that says welcome because you're welcoming everything inside your home. But I have bells everywhere and the little cinnamon broom and all these things. It's warded everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Safe.
What are some, because we're going to have the subject about chakras soon on the show too.
Oh,
What are some good stones for chakras?
so I kind of mentioned how the color really affects the frequency, but
Mm,
and also a big question I get is like, how do I know what to do generally? Like, there's a lot of stones, there's a lot to learn about them. A
mhm,
good general rule as to what a crystal will do and what its properties will be kind of hinted at by the color and which chakra that it correlates to. For example, blue stones, if it's more like indigo, maybe more third eye, but generally third blue stones are for our throat chakra,
mhm,
and they can help with communication, speaking your truth. Like Amazonite is a blue stone, and it's also kind of nicknamed Wonder Woman stone because it helps
mhm.
with like female empowerment, but it's also a stone of truth, and she's like the lasso of truth. But it's so we can speak our truth and know our truth. Green and pink stones will be for the heart, like rose quartz and peridot, and they usually help us like process emotions and open our heart and release things from our heart. Our like red stones will be more for our root chakra, and that can help with like grounding, but it can also help with like creativity because it's kind of weird to think like your creativity comes from your root, but it's where we create life. It's where we create a lot of things. And so it can help with new ideas, it can help with fertility, it can help with a lot of stuff. And then like black stones in general are grounding and protective. Even if you don't know anything about crystals, just kind of go off of like the seven colors and that'll give you a
Mhm.
lot as to what it'll correlate to what chakra.
So I use or I work with a lot with essential oils. And the rule of thumb in that world is when someone is completely put off by something, either totally drawn to it or absolutely like disgusted by a smell. It's like, let's look into this. Why? I think you might actually need this because you are so disgusted by it, right? Is that something also with crystals where people are like, I hate all orange stones, right? Does that spark something in you where you go,
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, and it's a really interesting point that you brought up about how, like, not only what they like, but what they really don't like is a
Mhm,
sign because people like to ignore the other side. They just say, oh, what I like is what I need. Um, but with crystals, a lot of times people say, like, oh, what should I get? A lot of times it's what you're drawn to can be a great thing because it's not like you have to really think about it. You're just like, ooh, I like that. I just want it. I like it. I'm drawn. I want it. And so, like, I also find the colors that you're mostly drawn to, people kind of have like their go-to colors. Like for example, my mom's is like purples and blues, and then I
mhm,
really like more greens and purple and pinks. And it can also reflect not just kind of what chakras are in balance. A lot of times, the things that you're most drawn to are things that you're good at and or are comfortable with. You want to keep exploring that area. People who really like purple tend to be almost like more spiritual or like upward thinking type of beings. Like they're, I don't want to say like less grounded, but they're more like up here type of a thing versus people who are like warm and grounded. They tend to like more like reds and oranges in general. And sometimes the things that you're really resistant to, you're like, oh, I don't like that. Like my mom, she hates orange. She won't even sell anything that's orange in the shop. I mean, we have some orange crystals, but she is like, no orange. You can't have orange anywhere. Sometimes I find that's areas where we need to strengthen.
mhm,
Those are usually are like our weakest chakras because you're like, "Ugh, it's not working out
mhm.
for me. So I don't want any part of that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can vouch for that 100%. It's not just drawn to, I think I'm addicted to any lighter blue turquoise stones. They were my favorite, right? And when you go into my human design chart, this portal here is like my most important one. That's the one that's fixed. That's the one that's closed. That's the one that's always the truth, right? I need to speak my truth. But it's also the chakra that needs the most TLC and help because I tend to not do that, right? I tend to suppress it. And I never liked, like your mom, orange and red and more of these darker, warmer colors. Well, come to find out, that's also a chakra that was very unbalanced and suppressed. 100%. I can totally vouch that that is true and that needs attention.
And like I I do a chakra class too. And I find people who have blockages in those chakras, well, it kind of touches every aspect of their lives. Like, for example, like let's say you have a blocked, what's your solar plexus, your yellow one. It's about willpower and like doing things and saying, like,
Mhm.
being assertive and bringing your will forth into the world. And like they're really wishy washy. They can't make choices or pick. decide things. So even if you kind of resist those maybe yellow or orange stones, they might help you with the things that you're lacking in.
And I think that's also an easy to understand guidance, so to speak. It's nothing complicated. It's not too intimidating. Do you have some, since you work with people all the time, and I'm sure you have customers that are, come in very regularly. Do you have some success stories from customers that are like, oh my God, this thing happened and this crystal helped me with XYZ?
Some people are like really more aware and in tune with stuff, especially when they're like newer to their crystal journeys. I've had some people that come in and they get a crystal and then they come back a few days later and like, oh my God, I've noticed all these changes in my life. I noticed this happens. I noticed this happens. Sometimes it can be like, oh, this thing that I've been wanting to have happen has started happening. Or sometimes it can even be like how they feel energy in their body. Like, wow, I feel more grounded or I feel more just good. Usually people are like, "Wow, I just feel so good," because you kinda feel more like you or
Yeah.
amplified of whatever you're amplifying.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. I think the rarest crystal that I have is a crocite.
Mm.
My God. And that thing is so sensitive. I mean, it's standing on its own little thing and nobody can touch it because if it falls over, it's done pretty much. Um, what is the rarest crystal you've ever laid hands on?
Um, I what is the rarest crystal? I think that one of the rarest ones that I've been looking for a long time, and I only found once in New York, was, a hoyite. It's Ajoite, and, it's kinda like this quartz with this blue in it, and that's pretty rare, you don't see that often, and also, like, higher quality ones are really hard to
Uh-huh.
come across. There are some stones that I've been looking for that I've never seen, ever, ever, and it's always kind of funny when people come sorry, my cat's nearby. Go away,
It's all
cat.
good.
When people are like, "Oh, can I get, like, an emerald, like, this big for, like, $10?" And we're like, "No, it's gonna be hard to get." You gotta kinda realize that some of these things are a little more rare and,
Right.
valuable too. What else? I really like anytime I travel, I go to, the mineral, like, museums, like Natural History Museum, and I look at all the rocks, and I just get really overwhelmed. Like, in New York, they have this tower of labradorite that's, like, huge, and they have some amazing, really rare stones, but also, like, stones that are just in huge sizes, like a topaz that's, like, massive, like
Uh-huh.
bigger than a car wheel. So, and they're all no two are really the same. Like they all grow different and they're all special and unique. So even if they kind of are rare to me, they're all rare and unique. And I'm grateful that I get to see or experience any of them and be like, wow, look how cool you are. I get excited about them.
Yeah. Yeah. And for someone who's sensitive, and I'm sure not everyone is like this, there is another, and I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. There's another crystal store in Orlando that's fairly big, and they have these huge, huge amethyst geodes,
The
right?
wings.
Oh my goodness. And they're everywhere around the cash counter and whatnot. I can't I can't stand there. I get nauseous. I get
Hmm.
nauseous. I feel like I'm vibrating and my head's starting to hurt. I'm like, it's too much. It's too much. Who buys this? Who puts this in their house? I mean, if you can, good for you. I could not do that. I would go crazy.
It's interesting seeing how different people's sensitivities are. Like, we have some people that come into the shop and they're just like, whoa, like, there's so much going on in here. There's so much crystal, there's so much going on. I can't really handle it. And other people that don't notice anything or don't see or really feel anything. And that's why I mentioned earlier when it's like, if people can be aware, if people can kind of feel this, like, usually you notice a difference. Sometimes people notice a difference when they pick up a rock and they're like, whoa, that's some energy right there. Once I went to a crystal show, like a wholesaler show, and they had security there. So these people weren't really crystal people. They were just there to be security. They go to all the shows. And this police officer was going over these pyramids with his hand, and he was just like, and we're like, how's it going? He's like, I can feel. And we're like, that's great. Some people are just kind of getting into it, but it's interesting.
I can't. The tail of the camera is freaking hilarious. I love it. She's like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're talking about crystals. I'm here too. Uh-huh.
I'm here. I want to be part of the
I'm
conversation.
Ellen. Ellen's familiar. I'm here.
Hmm. Hmm. That is.
Yeah, I love that you go to, obviously, as a wholesaler, to these crystal shows. Oh my gosh, I would be geeking out all over the place. We
And
were
if
in
you want,
Savannah.
go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of buzzing.
A lot of crystals and big ones too, like big, like you talk about those big wing ones, even bigger.
Yeah, we went to Savannah. There's a very expensive hotel right on the river, and they entire lobby. I don't know if they changed this or if this always there, but they had like a crystal. It wasn't a show, it was more like a display. Everybody could just walk in and look at it. And it was like you said, amethysts that were bigger than me. I mean, they were like 6 foot something. And again, it was this, do you want to take a picture? And my kids took pictures with them. And I was like, I am not standing next to that thing. I'm sorry, I can't do that. And what's interesting is I have paid attention to when I go into your store. So when I go into your store, I first gravitate towards the left where all the teas and the herbs are and whatnot. And then I slowly gravitate to the right. It's almost like I need like 2, 3 seconds to accommodate myself a little bit to the energy in the room before I can go over to the crystal shelf.
Hmm.
And I have to say, your crystals, the selection that you have has grown so much over the last 10 years that now you do have more of the rare stuff too, or things that I've never even heard about that I don't know how to pronounce it. But I look and I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty. I like it. Let's get it.
I find kind of crystals do that in your life. You're like, oh, I want one. Oh, I need more. Oh, I need more. It's just like it doesn't stop growing. And yeah, we started with like one small shelf, and now it's like half the store is
Hmm.
all products.
Hmm. Yeah, and for everybody who doesn't know, so you also you make jewelry, you wrap crystals, right?
Yeah, some stones are just so cool. I just like, I want to be able to have this with me and carry this with me. And it's kind of sometimes hard to like try to get it set in something or have it to where it's wearable. So my goal is just to get like a loop on it so that I can have it and showcase the beauty of each unique stone.
Yeah. I just bought my husband a lapis lazuli cross in your store, and oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And we're both Pisces, so of course we love blue, everything blue, everything blue. So yeah.
A fun thing with lapis is I always heard like it's a king stone because they use it with like the pharaohs, like a lot of inlays and stuff were used with lapis, and they always use lapis for kings and pharaohs, but they always say it's like a king stone. I'm like, what is that? What does that even really mean? So when I was doing some research on lapis, I really kind of understood it in a new way. So, lapis is a really good third eye stone. It's really good for intuition and awareness, but it kind of lets us have a level of awareness about who we are and what we need to where we are the ultimate authority over us. Nobody knows us better than us. And when we're the ultimate authority to make those decisions in our lives, we're kind of like the king or queen of our lives. There's no one higher than us that knows who and what we are. And so I was like, oh, then you are kind of a king. You are the ultimate authority on it. So it's a fun fact with lapis that I learned recently.
That's beautiful. That was the very first gemstone that I have ever been gifted, was a
Mm.
lapis. It was, I mean, in the 90s, you had these disc with a hole in it, and it was like tied usually with a leather band, and you would wear it as a necklace. It was like very trendy.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, and it was a lapis. So it was my first one.
And sometimes sodalite looks very similar to lapis, and it's sometimes hard to tell the difference. But lapis has pyrite in it, and that's a good way. If you see pyrite in it, it's lapis. Sodalite doesn't have any pyrite in it.
So it sparkles a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little sparkle.
Well, now I have to look at it a little closer. That's interesting.
Yeah, you'll see little flecks.
Yeah. That actually, is there maybe a rule of thumb on how can I tell if a crystal is actually real? There's so much fake out there.
And after you look at it a lot, you'll start to notice like certain looks and certain things. Also, some people say like it's the temperature, like if you like hold it and it's cold or it's hot. I mean, you can have a crystal in your pocket all day and it'll get warm. Like it's not like it's always cold, but generally it's not like it's colder than maybe a glass or plastic would be. But it's sometimes you can see, like, if a stone has, like, dye lines, like, it's an uneven dye, it, like, sits in, like, cracks and stuff, you can see if it's been dyed or man altered, but a lot of times, like, they just look more like plastic. They can have like sometimes it has like a little color swirl in it. Like if it's like there's this thing called cherry quartz, which sometimes I see is a plastic one, and it's almost like they took like a dye and swirled it in water, and you can kind of see like the and then it
Mhm.
like plastic. So sometimes you can see if it just looks weird, but sometimes it could be the color, not the color, like the coldness, the texture of
Yeah.
it. Um, but a lot of times it's the look. And if it has like a unique look or if it has like a little druzy or depending on stones, they don't all have the same attributes. But there's some things you're like,
Mhm.
oh, that's definitely a crystal. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten some bracelets that I knew came from China because they came in a gift box, and it's like one of them is supposed to be it's beautiful. It's a pink zebra jasper, but I don't know. It's not shiny at all. It's very matte. So I don't know if it's real or not. So now I have to hold it in and see how it feels, I guess. I don't know.
Sometimes also, like, if depending on how sensitive you are, you can feel it and kinda see, like, "Do I feel any energy from this? Is this amplifying things?" But, like, even glass can have properties. Glass can amplify and
Uh-huh.
move things too. So even if it's just glass, it might still be doing stuff. And,
Yeah.
like, if it's a faceted glass, like, think like those, like, little chandelier type of
Hmm.
glass pieces, if it can capture and reflect light and have rainbows and contain rainbows, that can have properties on its own. So,
I
you
mean,
know.
if you think about Swarovski, they make so much money. It's so expensive, and it's glass. It's faceted glass. That's all it is.
Yeah, and it's interesting also because, like, working in the shop and having lots of jewelry and rocks, like, we'll have sterling silver, like, precious gemstone jewelry, and then you go other places and, like, the prices are insane, and it's, like,
Hmm.
plastic, it's not even real metal, like, what's the value can be very uneven across where you're getting your stones and jewelry too.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, if something is handmade and made by a small business and somebody actually sat there and put all their hard work in it, I'm very happy to pay more for it.
Mm.
So you told me your favorite gemstone. What are your top three? Favorite top three?
My number 1 is labradorite because it's so cool and it can have so many different colors and no 2 are alike. They're all just so magical. And my second favorite is tourmaline. There's a lot of different types of tourmaline. Like black tourmaline is very common and it's very
Hmm.
protective, but there's also green tourmaline and pink tourmaline. My favorite's green tourmaline. And there's actually a form of tourmaline that's pink and green together, and like it looks like a watermelon. It's called watermelon tourmaline. Oh, it's so pretty. It's very expensive, but it's so pretty. And my name's Ellen, and so in, school, my nickname was Ellen the Watermelon, so I especially like watermelon tourmaline, and also I'm word today, I'm a Gemini, and, you can kind of go by your birthstone, zodiac, but the planet for Gemini is Mercury, and green stones, specifically like green tourmaline and emerald, are really good to help people that have a mercurial connection. So I like that one a lot. My third favorite, maybe it's a popfilite. A popfilite's really cool. A popfilite's kind of similar to quartz, and it's like kind of like spiky type of a thing, but it has slightly different of a crystal structure. It's kind of like longer and I don't want to say like square, but kind of than a quartz is, but they're just really pretty. They capture light really well. I connect
Mm,
really well to a popfilite. It's also really cool.
okay, I have to look that up.
What about you? Lisa Lapis is maybe on the top.
So my absolute favorite, I mean, and there's a whole lot of nothing afterwards. It really is. Oh my God, I'm addicted to it. I'm actually wearing a ring. Is Larimar.
Mhm.
It is just, I mean, especially when you have bigger pieces where you can see, it looks like you're standing in the ocean and you're looking down and you see that pattern that the water makes with the sun. It is just so gorgeous. And when we went to Georgia, I don't know what's up with Savannah, but there is Larimar everywhere. Every store has Larimar in it, and I was at heaven. So I wanted to buy all the things. And then I like Blue Appetite,
Oh, yeah. Appetite's amazing.
and I like Amazonite. I think those are probably my top three, which are all blue, turquoise in that realm. So I'm really drawn to all of those. Yeah. Um,
Do you notice that you resist, like you said, you resist orange? Do you, like, if you get an orange stone, do you notice like it has a different energy than the stones that you're really drawn to, or affects you differently than the stones you're really drawn to?
Think I think they do. I think it's easier for me to have them on. I'm trying to get better with all the colors of these stones. I think the biggest problem I have is with the reds. So I gotten used to the oranges, like a sunstone and some trying to like tiger's eye, but it's really like the darker they go into the reds, the harder I have a hard time with it. And it feels off. Maybe that's just my awareness though, because I know I have something on me that I usually wouldn't choose. So I cannot identify with it. So what I do instead of jewelry, I try to use just the stone itself and then place it where my chakra is, because then it's almost like I'm at peace with it. It's like, okay, it's there. It has a purpose. It's good, but I don't have to wear it where now it becomes an expression of yourself. Does that make sense?
You're like, I'm not a person who wears orange bracelets. Don't worry. You're not going to see
Yeah.
me wearing an orange bracelet.
Yeah, exactly. And I have amber. I have a lot of amber. I'm okay with amber for some reason, which is orange. So that's I can handle the amber.
So any certain type of amber or just amber in general?
Usually, let's see what I got here. You know, one of these amber necklaces that they make for babies and stuff. Those teething necklaces. So I have this one.
Okay.
It's Baltic amber. I think this one is unpolished. Um, and it has
Well, but
Amazonite in the middle, of course. So, yeah, I do. Here it comes again. I do like the color play between the turquoise and the cognac color, and
it looks good.
then I like it.
Throw a little blue in there and then you're like the orange.
Exactly. Make it doable. Throw blue in there.
One thing that I didn't mention that I think is a good thing to kind of be aware of with crystals in general. The crystals, like I said, aren't going to hurt you, but they can sometimes pick up like energy or like other energies. Like if like 100 people touch a rock, maybe you want to cleanse it before you kind of work with it or really kind of pick up
Mhm.
that energy, connect to it. And so like sometimes at the shop, people will come in, a lot of times, sometimes we're kids will come in and they just want to touch everything. And I'm just like, that's not really good spiritual hygiene. Like you got to be aware of what you're doing. Don't just like touch everything. Like say, "Oh, do I want to connect this? Do I want to put this in me?" Okay, versus you never know what you get.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to keep my hands off every time I go. The only time when I start touching is when I have decided which type I
Mhm.
want. And usually when you have the bowls, I'm like, okay, now I probably got to dig a little bit to find the one that speaks to me the most. But yeah, definitely I cleanse them when I get home
Yeah.
because, yeah, because you don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they've been here for a long time. Who knows what kind of energy they were in before we got them and who
Yeah.
touches them while we have them. So it's always a good anytime you get new stones, it's a good idea to cleanse them.
Yeah. And I mean, from mining all the way to when it comes to your shop, there's thousand hands that it had gone through probably.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. That's a good idea. I think I use Palo Santo the most, but also I have my selenite disc on my window. But now that you tell me about the whole sun bleaching out thing, that might not be a good idea.
Well, selenite's kind of already white, although it might make it more weak.
Yeah. But I do have all my other crystals on top of it. So oops.
Yeah.
And I have a bell that I love because it is like for the big project when I want to cleanse all of them at once. It's like I'm not holding Palo Santo under every one of them. I just go over and I ring the bell and then we're done.
Yeah, like I said, frequency, bells, tuning forks, they like that. That can help clear them too.
Awesome. Anything we haven't talked about that you think is important when we talk about crystals?
There's a viewpoint with crystals that some people ascribe to, some people don't ascribe to. But I have heard this concept that, like, let's say amethyst, there's like a spirit of amethyst that is across all the amethysts. Like it's just kind of it's not just like this one amethyst is different than that. It's like the same spirit connected to both of them. And some people like will communicate or work with these spirits of overall stone, like the spirit of lapis, the spirit of whatever. And it's interesting that they have that viewpoint, but also there's kind of the viewpoint that crystals have almost like a consciousness, and they're almost like they grow and they are alive. Like it's like a different type of being than we are, but it's still kind of like plants also have consciousness, animals also have consciousness. They are possible that these are like, I don't want to say like celestial beings, but like a different form
Uh-huh.
of being that's like eternal and is growing and is might have some form of consciousness. So whenever we like get lots of crystals and I see them like all cut up and carved and a lot of things, I'm like, did this hurt? Did that hurt? Is this, are they fine with this? I mean, maybe
Right.
parts of them going everywhere could be good, but it's something I ponder about sometimes is the consciousness level of my gemstones. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's something to think about.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. It is something that grows slow, but it grows.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always my viewpoint when people say, "Oh, this is evil," especially when we're talking about religion, right? I was like, God made the earth. God made crystals.
Yeah.
It's not, why would it be evil? You know? So,
It's just a tool. It's just here on this planet, you know?
yeah.
And we are a combination, maybe in another topic, but we're a combination of kind of all the elements and kind of like a perfect balance. And like we have all the minerals that are on the earth in our body to certain levels. Like we need iron, we need manganese, we need certain levels of all these
Mhm.
things. So to a level, it was interesting. They've noticed that the way we function is almost closer to a liquid crystal because of the structure and patterns that our form has. So we are actually kind of a liquid crystal in form, which is also kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all stardust,
Hmm.
you know? So, yeah.
Maybe we're not so different from the rocks after all.
No, no, we're all creatures of creation, I guess, if you maybe that, I don't know. It's all energy and atoms at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This was so much fun, Ellen. Thank you so much for really sharing your wisdom, which I know it's a big subject too, and there are so many of them. I highly recommend people go, if they have never even held anything like this, to just go into the store and just look. Just look at it and experience it and see if, you're maybe also very sensitive to it and you can feel different energies. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great. Like the time has just flown by. It doesn't feel like we've been talking for an hour. It feels like 20 minutes,
I
maybe.
know. I know. And I know you told me before, I can talk about crystals for an hour. And I was like, yeah, I know. I know. Me too. It's a lot of those subjects. It's just, it flies by because it's fun to talk about it. And there's different aspects about it. And sometimes it gets philosophical too. And that's the fun part about it.
Hmm. Well,
Well, thank you
thank-
so much. Yeah.
yeah.
I will put your info in the show notes because I know even if you're not in Florida, you can still order from Divine Wellness, the beautiful crystal shop, and get also not just crystals, but teas, herbs, soaps, anything for your well being, essentially, from your store. So,
Yeah. And I'm there.
yeah,
If you need to talk to me, you can call the shop. We'll be
yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah. Get the expert on the line if you have questions about which crystal should I get, because that sometimes is me. So I get it. All right, y'all. Give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. Leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, a review, and share it with somebody you think needs this. Have a fabulous day. See you next time.